Indeed. In terms of overpriced running backs, you had Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift, particular Swift, a very popular target right now, going off and in late round 2. And Miles Sanders obviously busted a bit last year, but still going in the first 3 rounds. So intrigued to hear what your case is for why these guys are overpriced.
Well, I definitely think the answer to this question is David Montgomery, but I think you guys told me I couldn't talk about David Montgomery. I think you talked about him last week. Pat had that one maybe. So, all right, we're going to move on to some other guys. Similar situation with both these guys. I'm just concerned about what the team is telling us about them. And I like both these guys as talents. I'm particularly upset about Swift and this Todd Gurley news today, just because Swift was my number 1 running back in that class last year. The guy could do it all. But what are we hearing from these teams? We see the Eagles go out, they bring back Jordan Howard, they sign Kerryon Johnson, they draft Kenneth Gainwell. None of those guys I don't think are coming for the starting job, but there's a reason why they're stacking up on all these guys. And I think it's because they're not going to give Miles Sanders this massive workload. Can he be efficient? Can we see guys like Sanders and Swift put up decent numbers, on less touches? Of course we can, but we want to see which of these guys can jump up and become maybe that top 5 based on their talent. And I just don't think either of them is going to get the volume. Jamal Williams is somebody that coaches love. You have Anthony Lynn come out and call him a type A back and kind of talk up that Jamal Williams is a guy who can grind you those yards. And then Swift is kind of more like a change of pace. I don't think that means anything. I think they would both get touches. And I expected when Williams ended up there that we were going to see him maintain like a decent role. It was kind of like, how many Packers games has everyone watched where you're wondering why Aaron Jones wasn't on the field? Why is Jamal Williams out there? I'm texting back and forth with friends and people in the industry going, why isn't Aaron Jones on the field right now? I think that's what's going to happen here. And then when you see a Todd Gurley in town, even though I don't think Gurley has anything left in the tank, that's worrisome. That's the coaching staff and the front office telling us that they don't want to give a huge workload to one guy, in my opinion. And Gurley's a guy that comes in with, with some gravitas, with some respect, right? Like, even though fantasy wise, I think we know that he's probably done at this point, or he would be a guy that, kind of like I said about Peyton Barber before, that would need that, Peyton Barber like volume before he was going to put up any numbers. Looking at it for Swift, I worry that he's not going to get that big workload. It won't allow him to jump up into that, top 5. So, yeah, a little worried about both those guys at this point, despite their talent.
Yeah, I think full agreement. It's so frustrating with these talents that you'd love to see peppered and just continually ridden, but the actions speak louder than words. I know Deuce Staley came out and said, Swift's a 25-touch guy, even if that means 15 carries and 10 catches. We're going to give him the ball as much as we can, but then why are you continuing to bring in these guys? And a lot of people are like, we see Alvin Kamara and we see Austin Eckler on this receiving workload thrive. Well, those are the Saints. Those are the Chargers, like putting up top 5 points in the NFL. We're looking at a Jared Goff-led Lions team with very minimal talent elsewhere around this roster. I do not see them being a top 10 scoring offense that can sustain a back that is only seeing about half the workload. So I am a bit worried. I was very high on Swift until they brought in these guys, and it's nerve-wracking. I don't enjoy it, and I'm certainly out on Miles Sanders. I think Jordan Howard is going to be a much bigger pain in his ass than people are recognizing right now. I could see him scoring 8-10 touchdowns, and then they go and get Gainwell. I mean, it's just Sirianni is a guy that's always ridden committees. It's clear that's what they're going to do, and I like what this offense could be under Jalen Hurts. I like how Sanders played when he was with Hurts last year. His 2 biggest games once Hurts took over. I don't know. I'm with you. Just I hate messy backfields. I don't see much, like, why are those guys going so much earlier than the committee guys in rounds 5 or 6 that I think offer similar type of volume projections? So I'm with you there. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.